want some logs. Yep. Time to work on the next 2 long log loads. And with a good hefty dose of luck, we'll make our strategic reserve quota by the end of the stream. Should take a little over 2 hours to do it, because it took about an hour the first time. So we're going to do what we did before, with the exception that I have placed a fuel tanker truck up by the Lake Cove exit. So that way we're not just running on fumes by the time we get to the fuel semi-trailer. And there's one little deceptive bush that hides that big rock here. Tends to damage my trucks. That's pretty bad for a spot to make you remember one tiny little, like, sprite bush. So we're just gonna low gear the whole way to our destinations. Only using all-wheel drive when necessary, or when it slows down, all the obstacles slow down the truck enough. really big bumper this thing has. I mean, it's not too difficult a trip, but there's definitely, like, it's long and tedious, primarily, but there is some spots where you do have to be careful. Like, there is a couple of slightly butt-puckering spots along this delivery trip. Now that I've figured out one additional improvement during the previous long log trip, the first one I took, Lake Cove has almost no real difficulty whatsoever for this long log trip. It's all in a Mandra. Lake Cove is just, drive semi-carefully. Wait, no, I think there's one spot, one singular spot that actually has, real difficulty to it, which is the uphill to the exit. There's a spot with some trees around that you might be able to flip the truck while it's carrying the logs. But I think that's the only spot in Lake Cove. The rest is just, plan your route carefully and drive carefully. Learn the land, plan your route, drive carefully. Mandra, on the other hand, there's no amount of route planning and careful driving that allows you to avoid the rough spots. Because every path in Amandra has some sort of problem. Every single one. And because this requires you to go from the opening of Amandra to like halfway through into the map, or halfway onto the other side of the map. Even that's not a great description. I don't know. You gotta cover almost half the map's worth of distance. Like, say there's 4 quadrants, you gotta go through like most of 2 quadrants. Yeah, we'll just use all-wheel drive here. Gotta go through most of 2 quadrants just to get to your destination. like I said, there is just no avoiding. No avoiding most of the issues. Like, look, we're already to the logs. 10 minutes in. Like, okay, there's some mud here. That's not dangerous. That's just a little sloggy. Right? It's not even really a slog. It's just turn on all-wheel drive for a couple seconds. So, I've finished Multiverses earlier this morning. The last 5 rifts were just short, like really short rifts, like 5 fights rifts. And all the story has been taken out. The first 2 rifts required you to use certain skins, but then they remove that requirement, so there's like nothing else really tying the player to the rifts other than like trying to unlock skins, which you can't even unlock anything for now that the servers are down. Like there's no reward. It's just, you know, do the rifts, collect gems, get stronger, do more difficult rifts, collect more gems, get stronger, etc., etc. That's all there is left in Multiverses now, essentially. Besides couch co-op and training. But yeah, finished the last rift, so now I've installed another game to replace it, a new game, which will probably only get 1 stream. Oh, that isn't. Okay, cool. That actually simplifies it. Just the tiniest little bit of breakable ice right in the center. No problem. That way I don't have to fiddle with going all the way around or anything like that. Yeah, I'm going to be looking into the Xbox indie games. The, one made by, random individuals. Not really dev studios. what I'd like to play is like Balatro, but I don't got Balatro. Go down here. Easy. That is so much easier than trying to go down that turn. That is so much easier. The threat of that icy, like, tilted downslope has just been eliminated. So there's only one more potential issue with Lake Cove. So far, they've pretty much been eliminated. And the issue is right up here. Yeah, this section's a little sluggish. And with the weird different elevations. Like, there is the potential for flipping the truck. Like, right here especially. And that is exactly the reason why I got the wider frame for this thing. And I'm just going to avoid the muck, and I'm just going to drive over this section here. And noticed at the last second that that particular tree was not one I could just bowl over. Oh, right. There's this tilty spot here. Okay. This right here, this icy spot, is the biggest threat in Lake Cove for taking long logs to Amandra. Or for just for traveling to Amandra in general. Spot right here is the biggest threat. And we're good. So that spot and that uphill spot right before it, right before the snow to come over here, biggest threat in all of Lake Cove for this particular quest. Which is nothing in comparison to what's in Amandra. So that took 22 minutes. To get through being ready to do the trip to getting to Amandra took 22 minutes. So to reset the truck after coming back to Lake Cove will take a little bit longer. Yeah, this entire stretch from down here all the way to like to maybe about here as you're fighting frequently to just continue along the path. And this is the best path from A to B here. And on top of that, there's a little bit of a slog right here. So okay, so we got some troublesome rocks. Okay, no, we have a slog here. Got some troublesome rocks. We have a dip here with some obstacles. More of a slog. Precarious driving. And another slog. Then we can get up to the trailer. Then we go through here. We go around this obstacle, which can be a little precarious. There's some rocks to be wary of. There's a dip in the river. This turns a little sketchy. Then we come to this bridge, which is the absolute most dangerous part of the entire trip. And my computer's having a hard drive issue. Shit.